What's up everyone, and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Alex Pereira reveals next UFC fight. Although Glover Teixeira seemed to indicate that a fight between Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev is up next after the streaking contender's win over Johnny Walker, that may not be the case. As the light heavyweight champ himself indicated on social media, his focus is on fighting Jamal Hill next, as Dana White indicated after his victory over Yuri Prochazka last year. After fighting Hill, Pereira has his sights set on breaking the UFC's record for shortest turnaround time between title defenses, which is currently held by Ronda Rousey, who defended her title at UFC 168 against Miesha Tate before then turning around and defending the belt against Sarah McMahon at UFC 170 just 56 days later. In a post on Instagram, Pereira wrote in Portuguese, "People, let's focus on what matters, which is Jamal, and then I'll focus on breaking another record and doing 2 title defenses in the least amount of time." Of course, Hill is still on a mission to return to the octagon after tearing his Achilles last summer during International Fight Week, meaning a fight between the two is still several months away from being booked. Next up, let's take a look at Khamzat calls out Israel Adesanya. Amid reports that Israel Adesanya will be in attendance at UFC 297 this coming weekend, many have taken the news as an indication that he will likely fight the winner of the upcoming Strickland vs. Du Plessis fight. Despite that, Khamzat Chimaev has made it clear that he has assurances from the UFC that he's next in line for a crack at the belt after beating Kamaru Usman at UFC 294. During a recent interview with Smile 2 Jana, Chimaev was asked about a number of potential opponents, Adesanya included.
I can say this guy running for me like a couple of years, so I changing my shoes, running after him all the time. So what could say? So of course I will win the fight. I was calling you out since the beginning. So that guy out in, I don't know what's happening with him now. So there's a lot of good guys who needs to fight. So if he's on, of course I'm gonna smash him too.
Although Chimaev is confident that he's next in line for a crack at the belt, if Du Plessis wins the fight, he has already made it clear that he has no interest in defending the belt against the undefeated contender, given that he has yet to beat a true middleweight. Next, let's take a look at Sean O'Malley breaks silence on Chito Vera training camp. At UFC 299, Sugar Sean O'Malley will look to make his first successful title defense while also attempting to avenge the lone loss on his professional record. Despite Vera's win in their previous meeting, O'Malley sits as a negative 205 favorite to Vera's status as a plus 170 underdog on DraftKings, indicating that many members of the MMA community are confident in the champ after his stunning victory over Aljamain Sterling. During a recent episode of the Timbo Sugar Show, O'Malley spoke about his training for the fight.
We're 8 weeks out, 7 weeks out, 6 days. Who's counting? I'm going to Cheeto up in Miami, March 9th. You're not going to want to miss it, boys. I'm telling you. I'm feeling good. This far out, I'm feeling this good. Dangerous.
Should O'Malley wind up getting through Vera and avenging his UFC 252 loss? The expectation among fans is that he will fight the winner of the upcoming Merab Dvalishvili-Henry Cejudo fight. However, if Vera wins, he's made it clear that he wants to fight Corey Sandhagen to avenge a loss of his own. Considering O'Malley was looking to fight before the end of 2023, it sounds as though the champ believes when he fights at UFC 299, fans will be able to see him at his best. Next up, let's take a look at Dana White goes off on Jon Jones in leaked message. Newly unsealed documents have shed light on not only the UFC's business practices, but also the promotion's inner dealings. In the latest round of documents to go viral, correspondence between Dana White and Lorenzo Fertitta has been made public. In the text exchange, which took place in May of 2014, White expressed his frustration with Jon Jones amid negotiations for a rematch between Jones and Alexander Gustafsson, who had pushed the champ to the brink in their famed UFC 165 showdown. A text message from White reads, "What's up with Jones? Did he straighten up, or is he still being a scumbag?" Fertitta responded, writing, "Still a douche, but we're inching closer. Haven't moved on money, but sent the letter with an ultimatum." White responded, writing, "Awesome, F that punk Lorenzo. He needs to know we don't need him, or he will F us over more than he already does." At the time, White was still fuming over Jones refusing to fight Chael Sonnen on short notice at UFC 151 after Dan Henderson's withdrawal, resulting in the cancellation of the card. So far, Jones and his team have yet to respond to the newly unsealed documents. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at Dricus Du Plessis goes off on Sean Strickland. As Sean Strickland has indicated, He feels that there are certain things that are off limits when talking trash, such as a person's wife, their kids, or their childhood trauma. Although the champ won over a number of fans by opening up about his experience as a kid on Theo Von's podcast, showing an emotional side that he hadn't revealed before, others felt as though Strickland was being hypocritical. Dricus Du Plessis falls into the latter category, believing that Strickland can dish it but can't take it. He spoke on the MMA Hour where he took aim at the champ.
It doesn't matter because he's a funny character. I actually quite enjoy him. Is the hypocrisy is what made me. That was the one area where people could lose respect for Sean Strickland, because he's always unapologetically himself. But as soon as he got his own medicine, as soon as he was on the receiving end for the very first time, when I got on that mic, we saw him backpedal and trying to play the sympathy. God, he wanted sympathy. He was acting like he had that victim mentality immediately. Can't do that if you say the things you say. Talking about people who can't dodge buses on somebody who died, a fighter who died.
As Strickland indicated on his podcast, he has already messaged Du Plessis, indicating that if he brings up the champ's childhood trauma again leading up to the fight, he won't hesitate to use a knife on the #1 contender, resulting in the cancellation of the fight and his arrest. With the fight week underway, there's plenty of hype surrounding the event, with AKA head coach Javier Mendez speaking about the fight on his Javier Mendez podcast.
Sean Strickland is proving me completely wrong when he annihilated Adesanya. So for me, I'm like, and that wasn't a fluke. That was a downright, whoop your butt type thing, So I don't know what to say, I mean, Strickland just won every round, in my book, So for me, I don't really put nothing past him no more. So I'm not going to say nothing because let's wait and see what happens,
With the event right around the corner, it'll be interesting to see how things play out. Conor McGregor roasts Michael Chandler for claiming that he's stronger than Conor. Chandler said on his YouTube channel, "He is not stronger than me, so I don't need to gain weight. I don't need to gain any more strength. I don't need to do any more than what I'm already doing. The dude is not stronger than me. Go out there and show me a video of Conor McGregor lifting heavy weights. I actually looked before I got in this video. You can't find any videos of this man lifting heavy weights." To which Conor replied with a couple laughing emojis. He then went on to tweet saying, "Lifting belts is greater than lifting weights," and followed it up with a reply to another tweet comparing Chandler and Conor's bodies, saying, "Coming soon on pay-per-view? Mwah. And I can bench press 10 Chandlers. Chandler can't lift." Next, let's take a look at Jiri Prochazka reveals horrible news. When Jiri Prochazka returned to the octagon to fight Alex Pereira at UFC 295, the former champ was apparently not only looking to return from what Dana White says UFC doctors dubbed the worst shoulder injury they've ever seen. As he revealed to Ariel Helwani on the MMA Hour this week, he was also looking to do so while battling a staph infection that spread from his leg all the way up to his ear. According to the Czech Samurai, he was only able to train for 1 week in the 5 weeks leading up to the pay-per-view card.
There was many cups in a preparation, because from the last 5 weeks of preparation, I trained just 1 week. No, but because the staph infection, well, after fight, I fought with that more than 1 month.
Oh, wow.
More. So yeah, that was that. Antibiotics I had before the fight, so that was the last 5 weeks before the fight was totally.
Oh wow.
Totally, yeah, on my leg, and then it started to travel in my body, to my ear. One morning, I woke up and my ear was total 4 times bigger, yeah, and then another thing, then another. So there was a lot of things too.
Despite that, as Prochazka indicated, he didn't consider withdrawing from the fight, believing that he'd be able to win the bout regardless of the situation. With Prochazka set to compete against Alexander Rakic in April, the former champ will have a chance to insert himself back into the mix for a crack at the belt sooner rather than later. Next, let's take a look at Johnny Walker breaks silence after knockout loss. This past weekend, Johnny Walker was on the wrong end of a brutal knockout loss to Magomed Ankalaev, which snapped a 3-fight win streak for the Brazilian contender. Despite the loss marking a significant step back in his hopes for a title shot, Walker seemed to be in good spirits after the bout. In a post on Instagram, Walker echoed a phrase popularized by SBG Ireland's John Kavanagh, writing, "Win or learn, right, coach? Fighting the best in the world, one little mistake costs the win. You don't make so you can't break me. You didn't build me so you can't kill me. Let's keep climbing." Although it's unclear how long Walker will be medically suspended for following the loss, he's already made it clear that he wants to return to the octagon in June at the UFC's recently rescheduled Saudi Arabia card. Walker currently finds himself sitting at number 7 on the UFC's official rankings as of January 15th, just one spot behind Nikita Krylov and one spot ahead of Khalil Roundtree Jr. With the fan favorites still as motivated as ever to climb the UFC's rankings, it sounds like he'll attempt to make a comeback in June in order to put his latest loss behind him. Next up, let's take a look at Dana White receives bad news. With UFC 299 in mid-March and UFC 300 in April, there was plenty of speculation as to how the promotion would stack the UFC Fight Night Saudi Arabia card set for March 2nd. According to a report from Ariel Helwani, who spoke on the MMA Hour, after failing to deliver on the high expectations for the event, that UFC has now postponed the card in order to ensure that it lives up to the hype of Saudi Arabian officials.
That I'm being told via sources that the planned March 2nd UFC event in Saudi Arabia is being postponed and the target is June. I was told that the reason for the postponement is because they just want, the powers that be in Saudi Arabia want they want a more entertaining fight card. They want a deeper fight card with bigger names on it. Weren't too pleased with what was being offered. And so it is being, at this point, moved to later in the year, June.
The timing of the news comes shortly after lightweight champion Islam Makhachev took to social media, indicating that he plans to return to the octagon in June. In a post made on social media on January 10th, Makhachev revealed that he wants to fight Justin Gaethje on June 8th, before then setting his sights on the Oliveira vs. Sarukian winner in November. Of course, the UFC has yet to announce a June 8th pay-per-view card, with UFC 300 set for April, and UFC 302 expected to take place on June 29th, when Conor McGregor returns to the octagon. Now, the expectation is that UFC 301 would take place in May, leaving the promotion without a pay-per-view scheduled for June 8th. Either way, one thing is clear. Johnny Walker is eager to fight at the event. Following his loss to Magomed Ankalaev, he reacted to the UFC Saudi Arabia news, writing, "Put me in." Top comments. "I was so excited for Khamzat at the start of 2023, and now I'm looking at him like he's peaked already and shown us all his game as well. I don't think he will go as high as a lot of us hoped he would. We needed a fighter like him to lead a division and put more fans in the seats. I can't see that happening anymore based on his last couple of fights. My heart goes out to Curtis. Being paralyzed is a life-shattering, life-changing, life rebuild. Khamzat needs to chill. He barely beat a welterweight. Strickland could dish out, but then can't take it when someone else dishes on him." Make sure to leave a comment and you might get featured in our next video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss any MMA news. Check out our video from yesterday if you missed it. See you tomorrow.